like,
What's your opinion on like what people like to call clout chasing? 'Cause for me, I freaking hate it, and I'm not good at it. I don't think it's the right thing to do. But what's your opinion on like the clout chasers? I have heard the argument where like people are like they almost, and I kind of agree with this, where like sometimes you almost kind of need to do that if you're trying to grow. But then I've seen other people that are like against that and have done very well not doing that. So
yeah, I have a lot of philosophical thoughts about this. Personally, it's something that I think is distasteful. I don't think that doing things to... Okay, here's what I think. I don't feel comfortable doing that. Even when I have tried to do that sort of thing, it's like, this feels gross. It feels deceitful to me. It also feels like it's disrespecting myself, ultimately. It's like, I kind of see it as like prostitution. Like, one can argue that there is some kind of inherent benefit from that. Okay, accelerate faster, make money, but to what extent? And I think that line is drawn for each person. What I think overall bothers me, like, I don't mind if someone is going to like for instance, like someone's starting out and they want to play shows and like they are playing like a show for free because of the exposure that it gives them. I mean, everyone values themselves differently. I think it's important to value yourself highly. And what happens, it may take a longer amount of time, like it did for me, but I think what happens is in the end, you have more self-respect and you get more respect from others. That's kind of my take on it. What I don't like is like someone's entire career just based off of like, okay, someone who's pretending to be a musician, who is like completely ghost produced, and all that they have going for them is their curated image of themselves. It's like their entire career is dishonest. And I can't say if there's any objective good or bad in that. That's not for me to say. I know that that's not right for me to do such a thing. And all I hope is that they are bringing some kind of net good to society, and they're not just like a leech or a vampire of people's like insecurities or fantasies or money. Like, fuck that. We don't need any more of that. That's not doing any good.
yeah, if anything, it's just oversaturating the market with things that with people that aren't really, they kind of almost like bought their way in, or in a sense like did certain things to like yeah.
Ultimately, I want people to bring some kind of good to society.
100%, I agree. The reason why I asked that is because I've watched your progression over the time, and even you bringing up BT earlier, and you still have like you were saying, you have a good combination between like the melodic type music, but then also like the super hard technical stuff. But in the earlier phases, you're making more like trancey stuff, and I would say now you're making more of like the melodic rhythm, future bass type stuff. Not saying that you're selling yourself out, because that's not what I'm trying to say at all. But throughout that transition, was that a hard thing for you to do, like conceptualize for yourself with going through the transition between trance and like the newer style of music? And did you get called out for like selling yourself? Like, 'cause I know a lot of people like, they're like, oh, you're just trying to chase clout, when they change into something that might be more hot or popular.
Yeah. And what I realized, that's happened through multiple stages over the decade. And what I've realized is it's totally subjective. The people that see me as like a bass god, like dubstep all the way, experimenting and doing like pretty stuff or like ambient or experimental stuff, they're like that's not truly you. Like, what are you doing? And I got that especially when I released my song "Follow You" on Monster Cat back in 2014. I was kind of like paving the way, doing like futuristic dubstep stuff for a while, and then I like lost a bunch of respect from fans, or just lost a bunch of fans because I released something that was like pretty and poppy. But then on the flip side, there are people that feel the opposite. Like,
because you started making something different.
yeah, like I'll do experimental stuff, and then when they hear me releasing something that's like more, melodic dubsteppy, for instance, they kind of see that as generic. That's probably not their taste or what they're into, and they're like, you should do something that's more like deeper and truly you. I feel like neither side is right. Like, these are all just facets of me that I want to highlight because that's what I'm feeling at different times. Sometimes it's just a coincidence that, like, okay, here's just a bunch of heavy ass music that just kind of comes out at once. And also my release schedule is not congruent with the music that I make. Like, for one, I only release probably like 1 out of every 10 songs that I make or start rather, And then there's labels, and then the whole distribution process, which can totally change the timeline of
completely,
chronologically from when I created it to when it comes out. I mean, I have a song that is going to come out later this year. It's actually like 9 years old.
Holy
shit!
Like
spiced up and I'm finally deciding to put out. Excellent. And then there have been other songs where like for instance, sometimes I'll get remix opportunities that are kind of like last minute and they need it by the end of the month. And I'm just like, all right, here we go. And then that's like the next song that comes out. Kind of a deal.
Yeah.
So sometimes it just coincides with, here's a string of this style of music. That's just what I was feeling during those times.